Hey, everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts, and I am Lois, and today, we're diving into the world of mutants with a review of X-Men: Dark Phoenix from 2019. Is it a fitting end to the Fox X-Men saga, or does it go up in flames? Let's find out. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Now, let's get into it. X-Men: Dark Phoenix, directed by Simon Kinberg, is the 12th installment in the X-Men film series and the direct sequel to X-Men: Apocalypse. It stars Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, and Jennifer Lawrence, among others. The film follows Jean Grey as she struggles to control her newfound, immense power after a mission in space goes wrong. The movie kicks off with the X-Men embarking on a rescue mission in space. During the mission, Jean Grey absorbs a mysterious cosmic force, enhancing her powers but also making them dangerously unstable. As Jean grapples with her transformation, her powers spiral out of control, putting her friends and the entire world at risk. This sets the stage for a battle not just for Jean's soul, but for the future of the X-Men themselves. Now, let's talk about what worked and what didn't. First, the positives. The special effects are top-notch, particularly in the space rescue scene and the climactic battles. Sophie Turner delivers a strong performance as Jean Grey, effectively portraying her internal conflict and immense power. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender continue to bring depth to their roles as Professor X and Magneto. However, the film isn't without its flaws. One major issue is the pacing. The film feels rushed, trying to cram too much into its runtime, which results in a lack of character development for some key players. The plot can also feel disjointed at times, with certain story arcs not receiving the attention they deserve. Additionally, the film's villain, played by Jessica Chastain, feels underdeveloped and doesn't make a significant impact. Overall, X-Men: Dark Phoenix is a mixed bag. It has some great action sequences and strong performances, but it falls short in terms of storytelling and character development. Jean Grey begins to develop incredible powers that corrupt and turn her into a Dark Phoenix, causing the X-Men to have to decide if her life is worth more than all of humanity. The X-Men: Protectors of Peace. Jean Grey is one of the most beloved X-Men. But when a mission goes wrong, Jean is exposed to a dark and ancient power. This power has destroyed everything it comes in contact with until her. Now that this power is becoming unstable, she releases it with destruction and anger. Now that this foreign power is consuming her, and the world is threatened, the X-Men have to face an important truth. They must save either the world, or their friend who threatens it. After a car accident with her parents caused by her powers, the girl, Jean Grey, is raised by Professor Charles Xavier at his school. Years later, the X-Men are assigned to rescue a team of astronauts, and Jean Grey is exposed to a dark and evil force. Soon, her behavior changes, affecting her friends and the future of the world. Almost one long and peaceful decade after the nearly disastrous events in X-Men: Apocalypse 2016, Professor Charles Xavier's X-Men enjoy a mutually beneficial pact with the humans, undertaking increasingly dangerous missions as the Earth's valiant protectors. However, during a risky NASA crisis in 1992, Jean Grey is imbued with an unfathomable cosmic force. And even though she should be dead, this inexhaustible but uncontrollable energy enhances her already formidable abilities, transforming her into an all-powerful being. More and more, Jean's otherworldly powers become unpredictable and destructive, posing a direct threat not only to herself and her companions, but also to the entire world. Is humankind prepared for the rise of the Dark Phoenix? In 1975, 8-year-old Jean Grey Sophie Turner inadvertently uses her telekinesis to cause a car accident that kills her mother Hannah Emily Anderson, and apparently, her father John Gray Scott Shepherd. During the crash, Jean formed a protective energy barrier around herself, which protected her from any harm. Shortly afterwards, Professor Charles Xavier James McAvoy takes her to Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, where he mentally blocks the accident from her memories and helps her hone her psychic abilities. In 1992, 9 years after the worldwide devastation caused by Ensaab on Earth, the X-Men respond to a distress signal from the Space Shuttle Endeavour, which is critically damaged by a solar flare-like energy. Due to this, the Space Shuttle has lost all control and is not even in a position to return to Earth. While the X-Men Jean, Hank, Peter, Kurt Wagner, McAvoy, Kodi, Smit-McPhee, Scott Summers, Guy Sheridan, and Raven save all of the astronauts, one person is left behind in the airlock of the shuttle with a mysterious alien energy cloud moving towards it. Raven wants to return to Earth, but Xavier asks for everyone to be extracted. Kurt and Jean go back in to retrieve the stranded astronaut. Kurt escapes with the astronaut, but Jean is hit by the energy cloud. As the cloud moves towards the X-plane, Jean absorbs the entire energy cloud into her body to save the X-Men's aircraft from destruction. Jean survives the event, and her psychic powers are greatly amplified as a result. Raven is livid at Xavier for putting the team in greater and greater dangerous situations. She believes that Xavier is now used to the spotlight and is willing to sacrifice the mutants for his own glory. Xavier says that using mutants to save humans is the only way to make sure that humans never see mutants as a threat. Raven tells Hank that they are living Xavier's life and not their own. Raven and Hank are the only mutants left from the first class. At the same time, the mental block placed by Xavier is destroyed and she accidentally attacks the mutants celebrating at Xavier's school. After a mental breakdown, she later travels to her childhood hometown of Red Hook, New York after discovering that her father is still alive. Jean meets John and realizes that John knew that she survived the crash, but he refused to take her back as John was afraid of mutants. Jean believes that Charles deceived her by not telling her the truth and used her for her powers. The X-Men attempt to take Jean back to the school, but she injures Peter Maximoff, Quicksilver, Magneto's son, Evan Peters, and accidentally kills Raven, Darkhold, or Mystique, Jennifer Lawrence, and several local police officers before flying away. Hank is very angry with Charles's manipulating nature, and is even more angry when Charles refuses to accept his mistakes. Jean travels to the mutant refugee island of Genosha to seek assistance from Eric Lensher, Magneto, Michael Fassbender in controlling her powers, but is turned away by Eric after she engages in combat with U.S. military forces tasked with her arrest. Jean meets Buck Jessica Chastain, the leader of a shape-shifting alien race known as the Dabari. Buck had landed on Earth a few days ago, after Jean had absorbed the cosmic energy and took the shape of the first human she encountered in New York City. Her shapeshifters had briefed Buck that Jean was troubled due to the powers within her and was anguished that due to the uncontrollable nature of the power, she is killing the people she loves. Buck explains to Jean that she has been possessed by a force of cosmic power which wiped out the Dabari home planet years ago. The power had consumed all those it came across until it was drawn to Jean. By controlling this power, Jean can shape planets to bear life and become the most powerful being in the galaxy. Meanwhile, Hank McCoy asks Nicholas Hoult, who feels betrayed by Xavier's manipulation of Jean's memories, allies with Eric and the mutant refugees in an attempt to put Jean down in New York City. Eric is angry as Jean never told her that she killed Raven, so he is keen on revenge. Upon learning of Eric's plan to kill Jean, the X-Men confront him and his faction in New York City. As they battle, Eric manages to infiltrate the building and confront Jean, but he is overpowered by her amplified abilities and is knocked out by her attack. Xavier then enters the building with Nightcrawler Kodi Smit-McPhee. Jean attacks them until Xavier convinces her to read his memories, allowing her personality to resurface. Feeling remorseful, Jean asks Buck to take the Force from her. However, it quickly turns out that doing so would kill her. Xavier and Scott Cyclops die. Sheridan are able to prevent Buck from fully absorbing the Force from Jean, though Jean loses consciousness from the ordeal. However, just then, the mutants are captured by troops sent by the U.S. government, who utilize stun weapons and power-disabling collars. And then the mutants from both factions are placed on a train headed towards a mutant containment facility. A remorseful Xavier admits to a very resentful Hank that the latter was right in his earlier accusations of violating Jean's mind and lying to her. The train is attacked by Buck and her Dabari forces. When the soldiers are overpowered by the shapeshifters, the mutants are freed from their restraints to combat the threat. After the mutants take out most of the Dabari attackers, Buck arrives and heads for Jean, defeating each mutant that attempts to stop her. Meanwhile, Xavier confers with Jean within his mind, allowing Jean's personality to gain control of the Force within her. After forgiving Xavier, Jean saves the mutants from Buck's attacks and the ensuing train wreck, before proceeding to easily vaporize the remaining Dabari aliens when they attack her. Buck once again attempts to drain Jean of the Force, but Jean takes Buck into outer space and retakes the power that the Dabari had stolen earlier, then kills Buck. Jean then disappears as her full potential is unleashed, releasing a burst of energy in the form of a phoenix. In the aftermath of the incident, the Xavier's school is renamed the Jean Grey School for Gifted Youngsters, and Hank becomes their new dean, with Xavier having retired after decades of fighting for mutant rights. While settling himself in Paris, Xavier is reunited with Eric and reluctantly agrees to play a game of chess with him. As they start playing, a flaming phoenix appears in the sky. For fans of the X-Men franchise, it offers a glimpse of what could have been a powerful finale. But ultimately, it doesn't quite live up to its potential. So, what did you think of X-Men Dark Phoenix? Did you love it, hate it, or are you somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Yusuf Reacts. Stay mutant and stay awesome.